Ukraine has unleashed a wave of deep strike drone attacks that pierced hundreds of kilometers into Russia, striking at the very heart of its military and energy infrastructure and sending shockwaves through command centers, oil markets, and global security circles alike. Under the cover of darkness, low-flying, long-range unmanned aerial vehicles reportedly slipped past layered air defenses, slamming into military logistics hubs, ammunition depots, airfield facilities, and high-value energy assets such as oil refineries, fuel storage tanks, and power distribution nodes, targets that keep Russia's war machine moving. Explosions lighting up the night sky, fires raging across industrial zones, and emergency crews scrambling to contain damage painted a vivid picture of how the battlefield has expanded far beyond front lines. These strikes are not just symbolic. They aim to choke fuel supplies, disrupt troop movements, ground aircraft, and force Russia to divert precious air defense systems away from the front to protect its vast interior. For Ukraine, the message is clear and chillingly confident. No target is truly out of reach anymore. The use of increasingly sophisticated, domestically produced drones highlights Kyiv's growing technological edge and its strategy of asymmetric warfare, cheap, precise, and psychologically devastating. For Russia, the attacks expose vulnerabilities in air defense coverage over immense territory, raising uncomfortable questions about preparedness and internal security. As smoke rises from damaged facilities and investigators assess the impact, the deeper implication resonates globally. Wars are no longer confined by borders or distance, and precision drones have become strategic weapons capable of reshaping conflicts, energy security, and geopolitical calculations in real time. In an escalation that once again exposes the vulnerability of Russia's deep rear infrastructure, a fiery attack has rocked an oil storage facility in Belgorod Oblast, sending towering flames into the night sky and triggering shockwaves across western Russia. According to Russian regional authorities, Ukrainian drones penetrated air defenses and struck the oil depot with precision, igniting a massive blaze that could be seen from kilometers away. Thick black smoke billowed over the border region as emergency crews rushed to contain the inferno, while officials moved quickly to downplay the damage, insisting there were no casualties. Yet despite these reassurances, the symbolism of the strike is impossible to ignore. Belgorod Oblast, long considered a logistical backbone for Russian military operations linked to the war in Ukraine, has increasingly become a front line in the shadows, where drones, not troops, dictate the tempo of war. The attack highlights Kyiv's growing capability to target strategic energy infrastructure, disrupting fuel supplies, straining local defenses, and forcing Moscow to divert resources far from active battlefields. As videos of the burning depot spread rapidly online, the message was clear and chilling. No fuel hub, no supply line, and no border region is truly safe anymore. While Russian officials stress control and containment, the flames in Belgorod tell a deeper story, one of a conflict evolving beyond trenches and tanks into a high-tech war of reach, resilience, and relentless pressure deep inside Russian territory. In an escalation that pushes the conflict beyond land and deep into contested waters, reports now confirm that a tanker sailing through the Black Sea toward a Russian port was struck by a drone, sending shockwaves across global maritime and security circles. This single strike carries implications far greater than the damage inflicted on one vessel. It signals a widening battlefield where sea lanes, commercial shipping, and energy logistics are no longer insulated from the war's reach. As the drone reportedly slammed into the tanker, it underscored how modern warfare is reshaping naval conflict, with relatively low-cost unmanned systems challenging traditional defenses and exposing vulnerabilities in maritime routes long considered secure. The incident adds to mounting pressure on Russia, which relies heavily on Black Sea ports for energy exports and supply chains, while also raising alarms for insurers, shipping companies, and neighboring states that depend on uninterrupted passage through these waters. Analysts describe the strike as a calculated message. The war is no longer confined to trenches and cities, but is now actively contesting economic lifelines at sea. Coming alongside intense land operations, the attack highlights a coordinated strategy that blends battlefield advances with precision maritime disruption, blurring the line between military and commercial targets. As investigations continue and official statements remain cautious, one reality is already clear. The Black Sea has become a high-risk theater, and every vessel moving through it is now sailing under the shadow of drones, escalation, and an unpredictable new phase of modern warfare. In an escalation that signals a new phase of the conflict, Russia claims the skies over its heartland are no longer distant from the war. According to Russia's defense ministry, early 2026 has seen unprecedented frequency of Ukrainian drone strikes deep inside Russian territory, with attacks allegedly occurring almost daily over Moscow itself. Officials say dozens of unmanned aerial vehicles are being launched in coordinated waves, forcing air defense systems into near-constant activation, as sirens, interceptions, and debris alerts become part of routine life around the capital. Russian authorities insist that the majority of these drones are intercepted before reaching their targets, but the symbolism is impossible to ignore. The war is no longer confined to trenches and cities, but is now actively contesting economic lifelines at sea. From the Kremlin's perspective, these strikes represent a deliberate psychological and strategic shift by Ukraine, aimed not just at infrastructure, but at demonstrating reach, resilience, and technological adaptation. Analysts note that even unsuccessful attacks strain air defense resources, disrupt civilian aviation, and amplify public anxiety, while simultaneously challenging Russia's narrative of absolute territorial security. As both sides trade claims and counterclaims, one message cuts through the fog of war. The conflict is evolving rapidly, and the airspace over Russia, once considered untouchable, is now an active, contested battlefield, signaling a dangerous escalation with consequences that could reshape the trajectory of the war in 2026. These attacks are not random flashes in the dark. They are a calculated, high-stakes message written in fire and sound. Ukraine's expanding drone campaign reflects a sharp evolution in modern warfare, where low-cost, long-range unmanned systems are being used to punch deep into the heart of Russian territory, targeting the very arteries that keep the war machine alive. By striking logistical hubs, military installations, ammunition depots, and energy infrastructure far from the front lines, Ukraine is forcing Russia to defend everywhere at once, stretching air defenses thin, disrupting supply chains, and injecting uncertainty into regions once considered untouchable. Night after night, Russian authorities report waves of Ukrainian drones intercepted over multiple regions and near annexed territories. But even these interception claims underline the scale of the pressure. So many drones in the air that defenses must constantly be on alert. Each successful penetration, each explosion near an oil depot or military airfield carries outsized psychological and strategic weight. Fuel prices wobble, repairs drain resources, and civilians far from the battlefield are reminded that the war has no safe rear. This drone strategy is about more than physical damage. It's about erosion, eroding confidence, eroding logistics, and eroding the assumption that distance equals safety. In this new phase, the sky itself has become a front line, and every intercepted drone still proves the same unsettling truth. Ukraine now possesses the reach to strike deep, repeatedly, and unpredictably, reshaping the tempo and geography of the conflict with every buzzing engine in the night. In a dramatic escalation that sent shockwaves through Russia's rear area logistics, Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed a precision drone strike on a fuel depot deep inside Belgorod Oblast, igniting massive fires as storage tanks burned through the night, an image that perfectly captures how modern warfare is no longer confined to front lines, but reaches straight into the arteries that keep armies moving. According to Ukrainian military statements, the targeted depot was not a civilian facility, but a critical logistics hub supplying fuel to Russia's occupation forces, making it a legitimate and highly strategic military objective. As flames rose and thick black smoke marked the sky, the strike delivered more than physical damage. It struck at the very lifeblood of Russia's war machine, disrupting fuel flows essential for armored vehicles, artillery transport, and troop mobility. Analysts note that such attacks are carefully calculated. Fuel depots are force multipliers, and even temporary shutdowns can paralyze operations, delay offensives, and strain already stretched supply chains supporting the Russian armed forces. The Belgorod region, long used as a logistical springboard for operations against Ukraine, has increasingly become a pressure point, and this latest blaze underscores Kiev's growing capability to project power beyond the battlefield, using drones that slip past defenses to hit high-value targets. In this broader narrative of the war, the burning tanks symbolize a shift in momentum, where Ukraine is not only defending territory, but actively dismantling the infrastructure that sustains Russian military presence, sending a clear message that no supply node feeding the occupation army is truly safe. In a significant escalation of the conflict, an oil tanker was struck by a drone off the coast of the Black Sea while en route to Russian port of Novorossiysk, underscoring Ukraine's expanding capability to conduct long-range drone operations beyond traditional land-based battlefields. The incident marks another critical moment in the maritime dimension of the war, highlighting how the Black Sea, a vital artery for global energy transport and trade, has increasingly become a contested zone. According to preliminary reports, the tanker sustained damage following the strike, raising concerns over the security of commercial shipping routes that carry millions of barrels of oil through the region. While the full extent of the damage and potential environmental impact remains under assessment, the attack sends a clear strategic message. Maritime logistics and energy infrastructure are no longer insulated from the conflict. Analysts suggest this development could force Russia to divert additional naval and air defense resources to protect shipping lanes, potentially disrupting exports and increasing insurance costs for vessels operating in the area. For Ukraine, the strike demonstrates a growing sophistication in unmanned warfare, signaling an ability to challenge Russian assets far from the front lines and reshape the risk landscape across the Black Sea.